across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Because when I came home after 8 years, I paroled out to my brother's walk-in closet.
I still got 3 years of parole left.
Hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Loren MIchaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Good morning. Hey, y'all. Good morning. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Loren Harris, and my lips are chapped. I'm not kidding you. I'm trying everything under the sun. I'm gonna try butter here in a minute. I'm not kidding. This is Burt's Bees. Now this one's pretty good. Burt's Bees. That one's pretty good. Naked Bee is pretty good. There's a bunch of them. Hemp's, HEMPZ. Theirs is pretty good. I was in Colorado Springs, Colorado this past weekend. Well, I was there from Friday to Saturday. Below zero temperatures. Took a lot to get out of Chicago. Hours and hours and hours in the airport. But I got there. I did not want to miss the Educating Children of Color Summit of 2024. It was just incredible. Shout out to Judge Regina Walters and her incredible team. Everyone there, all of their volunteers were on point. This plunging neckline is a bit much, isn't it? I didn't plan it that way. The button came loose. I love this shirt because it's like a jacket. It's so warm. And here, let me put my little heater on oscillate. So anyway, great event. I'll tell you more about that as we progress through the week. We have a big week ahead here on Bathrobe Moments. We'll be back next week on all of the Facebook platforms. Don't ask. I still don't have any idea what happened with Facebook, why they put us in Facebook jail for 30 days. Because we didn't do nothing. We ain't did a thing. Oh, and I shouldn't talk like that because today, I don't want people to think I'm making fun. Today is MLK Jr. Day. Happy MLK Jr. Day for you, to you, with you, especially all of us of color. We know, boy, thank you, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you. Wouldn't be able to do what I do today if it weren't for him. And all of the hundreds of thousands of warriors of all colors, of all races, who have helped to not only get the civil rights movement on its feet and moving, but to keep it moving all these decades. Can I get an amen? So happy about that. And Colorado Springs, first time I was ever there. And that altitude, I think they said we were 8,000 feet up, and go upstairs, which I had to do quite a bit because my first presentation was on the third floor of one of the buildings on campus, and I didn't know where the bathroom was. Someone sent me all the way to the basement, so I had to go all the way. And by the time I started, just move my presentation downstairs to the basement, because at 61 you go to the bathroom a lot, and when it's 4 floors away and you have to take stairs and you're 8,000 feet above sea level. Okay, you get it? Right. But it was great time. Wouldn't miss them for the world. I hope they call me back to come back next year. I would love it. So how was your weekend? Put it in the comments. Tell me what stands out for you. How you doing? 2024, we're going. Lots coming up. A quick reminder, we have the very first Slam the Hammer, a free mastermind, will be coming out on Sunday, the 21st of this month, January, at 7 p.m. Central. You can find us on Slam the Hammer, a Facebook page. It's there. You'll find that page. And if you want to know more, just hit me up. I'll send you all the information. It's free. There's going to be a hot seat challenge. And Justin Charpentier is going to be our guest presenter for this inaugural kickoff Slam the Hammer Mastermind for 2024. And we will continue having these sessions once a month, on a Sunday, once a month, all the way through Memorial Day. Okay. And so come and be poured into if you want to hit the hot seat and let all the wonderful people there, entrepreneurs and CEOs and high-level achievers, pour into your current situation with your business. Come on to us. We'll love to embrace you. That is Slam the Hammer coming up on the 21st of this month. So there you go. Oh my goodness, you don't even want to know, right? So anyway, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I could play the I Have a Dream speech, which we'll hear an excerpt from it. But there are a lot of things about the civil rights movement that get overshadowed or underexpressed, if you will. And so I thought I'd just hit us with a few of those things today. Starting with this, I found a clip. I Googled things that might surprise you about the civil rights movement. And I found, let me see, I'm still getting used to this Wave, our new platform. So bear with me. Am I sharing the screen? Window, Chrome tab. That's what I want. Things you probably don't know about the civil rights movement. Now, this is from a school, so educators. So hoping they're on point. They're not making up anything. But anyway, they're out of the UK. I can tell by their accent. But let's take a listen. Then we'll talk about it. Couple things they say we don't know about the civil rights. Oh wait, let me get rid of that. Okay, I don't want that. I keep going to the wrong studio. Okay, here's our first clip of the day. If I can get it in there. There it is. Okay. Well, now I need to, I'm going to blow it up because I want you to be able to see it. And let's take a listen.
So you may well have learned about the US civil rights movement at school, but here are some things that you probably never knew. First, although we remember Martin Luther King Jr. as a disciple of nonviolence, the first people to visit him in Montgomery called his house, quote, an arsenal of weapons. King once applied for his own gun permit. King also once concussed one of his own siblings with a telephone receiver during a family squabble. Martin Luther King was a 40-a-day smoker, although he tried his best to hide that from the public because he didn't agree with smoking. King once flung himself off a second-story window in an attempted suicide when he was 12 years old. His grandmother had just died and he wanted to join her in the afterlife.
Aww.
Martin Luther King's favourite film was The Sound of Music. The March on Washington, at which King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech, was sabotaged in two different ways. One, externally, when someone tried to ruin the PA system that delivered the sound. Two, internally, by another student leader called John Lewis, who wanted to deliver a speech so incendiary and radical that most of the other speakers refused to join him on stage. The start of the Montgomery bus boycott was organised entirely by women. The Montgomery bus boycott was not originally organised in order to end segregation on Montgomery's buses. If you'd like to know even more about the US civil rights movement, then sign up and come and do one of our courses at the University of Leicester.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was interesting. I did not know that the Montgomery bus boycott was totally organized by women. Not surprised. And they were the ones who really rode the bus a lot because of, of course they were maids and cleaners and things like that, cooks, and they had to get out early. And yeah, a lot of them, wow, how interesting. I'll tell you this, you guys, as an African-American man in his 60s, that, how do I get rid of this? I just want to make sure. I got to learn all this. Remove. Okay, that's gone. Okay, there. Sorry. OJT. ADHD, all of it. So yeah, still learning the new platform here. But I listen, and I remember when I was a little kid asking my grandmother, Callie, about her memories of the civil rights movement. And there were days, it was interesting. She was almost like, if you've ever tried to talk to someone who went to Vietnam about their time in Vietnam, oftentimes a lot of them aren't able to speak about it, and we respect that. At least I hope you do. And anyway, I would ask my grandma Callie about the civil rights movement, and she would mainly talk more about what it was like before it started than tell me about the activities of the movement, the protests and things like that. And I remember wondering, but afraid to ask her when I was little, because I lived with her during the school week when I was in first and second grade, and then went home on the weekends because my school was in her town. And I always wondered why she was hesitant or, wasn't very open to talking about that period of time in her life. And I thought maybe she just didn't remember, or perhaps she wasn't involved. And that's why she didn't want to talk about it. I had a feeling it was more than just, I'm too busy to talk about this right now. But there was something about her eyes. I still remember that to this day. That when I would ask the question and she'd go there for just a moment, the way her eyes would kind of glaze over like she would go somewhere. And she'd stay there for a minute or two, kind of doing what she was doing, but thinking, and I'd be sitting off to the side or standing there waiting. You going to answer my question? And then she just changed the subject, abruptly changed the subject. But I knew not to challenge her. Okay, if you know that. So I can only assume today that perhaps some of those memories were a bit too painful for her. So I get it. If you have someone in your life that can shed any light on what it was like for them during the civil rights movement, man, you're blessed. I would try to get that story straight from the horse's mouth if I were you. So much has happened, so much still needs to happen, and not enough has happened all at the same time. So we're going to watch some clips from time to time today. I thought, okay, here's one I'd like to share regarding some of these are just a minute long, a couple are 5 minutes long. I have a doozy to end the show on. Boy, are you going to thank me for that one. I've even posted this video on my page yesterday and sent it to some friends of mine because it was so moving. We're going to wrap the show up today with Maya Angelou because there's so many people that have contributed and are still contributing even today, of course, to the civil rights movement. And a lot of them, we don't know their names. Most of them, we do not know their names. And so the Freedom Riders, that's another thing. This one's a little bit longer. It's 5 minutes long. Let's listen about that. I love the story of the Freedom Riders because the Freedom Riders, a lot of them were not Black. They were Caucasian. I think there were even a couple brown sisters and brothers aboard and helping out with this. And then, there are always those people that were helping from the sidelines. You know what I mean? They were quiet. A lot of people didn't want to let people know that they were allies because they didn't want to mess up whatever they had going in their lives or I get it. So let's take a look at this one if I can get it right. Okay, I gotta say this out loud every time. Go find this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Videos. Okay, Freedom Riders. There we go. Let's take a look. I want to blow it up for you. Here we go.
By the late 19th century, segregation of blacks and whites had become an entrenched way of life in the South. In December 1960, another Supreme Court ruling declared segregated restrooms, restaurants, and waiting rooms for interstate bus, train, and plane passengers unconstitutional. 5 months later, that law would be severely tested by Freedom Riders. The Freedom Rides were organized by James Farmer, director of the Congress of Racial Equality, or CORE, a civil rights organization rooted in the philosophy of nonviolence. Farmer, who would be arrested with other Freedom Riders, launched the movement to draw attention to the lack of enforcement of recent civil rights court decisions and legislation. As Farmer's volunteers rode into the South, the campaign gained support from civil rights leaders like Ralph Abernathy and Martin Luther King Jr. When the riders arrived in Atlanta, King praised them for their nonviolent, direct action, but he warned of trouble ahead. "You'll never make it through Alabama," he predicted. Activist John Lewis, now a congressman from Georgia, was then a 21-year-old divinity student. He was the first of the Freedom Riders to be attacked when he and a fellow white rider tried to enter a whites-only waiting room at a Greyhound terminal in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Traveling deeper into the South to Mississippi and Alabama, singing spirituals and freedom songs, the riders were met with hostility, arrest, and more violence. One of the most frightening attacks occurred a few miles outside Anniston, Alabama, on May 14, 1961. A Greyhound bus carrying Freedom Riders was forced off the road by a white mob who stoned and firebombed the bus. The passengers barely escaped the burning vehicle. That same day, several of the Freedom Riders arriving at the Trailways bus depot in Birmingham suffered savage and bloody assaults. Among several beaten by the Ku Klux Klan was 61-year-old Walter Bergman, a college professor from Detroit. Undaunted, he urged others to join the cause and strike while the iron is hot. His fellow rider, Reverend B. Elton Cox, an outspoken minister from North Carolina, also remained defiant, saying he preferred death to segregation. Jim Swerg, a 21-year-old studying to be a congregational minister, was the victim of an ambush attack a week later at the Greyhound bus station in Montgomery, Alabama. Screaming, "Nigger lover," the mob pummeled him, fracturing his teeth and injuring his back. Trained in nonviolence, like his co-riders, he never struck back. As the vicious attacks on the Freedom Riders continued, the National Guard was called out. When hundreds of supporters of the Freedom Rides assembled at Montgomery's First Baptist Church with Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders, an angry mob gathered outside. The National Guard patrolled the besieged church during the long, tense night. At times, however, Lewis recalled, the guards, with their bayoneted rifles, looked like the enemy. With their presence, the violence was quelled, but hostility awaited the riders as they arrived in Jackson. When black riders tried to enter a white waiting room, or white riders tried to use facilities designated for blacks, local police officers ordered them out. If the riders refused to leave, they were immediately arrested and charged with breach of peace. As the Freedom Riders were taken into custody in Jackson, they did not resist. Some bailed out of jail, but many, in a show of commitment to their cause, refused to be bailed out. The jail, no bail tactic, adopted by scores of those arrested, would burden Mississippi's penal system for months. Here's Martin Luther King, Jr.
Never in the history of this nation have so many people been arrested for the cause of freedom and human dignity.
While hundreds of Freedom Riders endured hot, dirty prison cells, civil rights leaders appealed to Washington. Attorney General Robert Kennedy had hoped for a quick end to the protests, and especially the violence. Finally, Kennedy pressured the Interstate Commerce Commission, the agency that regulated interstate travel, to issue a new and stronger ruling banning segregated facilities. The ruling went into effect on November 1st, 1961. It would still be many years before segregation would end completely, but the Freedom Riders had won a major battle in the war against racism.
Wow. Wow. Do you notice I couldn't even turn that song off early? Out of just a deep and abiding respect for all of those who made sacrifices and continue to make sacrifices for justice. Seriously. I mean, think about it, you guys. These were students that we're talking about, the Freedom Riders still, that stopped what they were doing, put their education on hold, risked expulsion in many cases. Many of them lost and forfeited the support of their families financially and emotionally because they took up the good fight. So much sacrifice, so very much. And that thing about, now let's just think about this for a second. Put yourself in these shoes. I don't care how much training you have. If you're getting pummeled and beaten within an inch of your life, the gentleman that they showed us in the bed, the Freedom Rider, said it fractured his teeth, which means broke his teeth out, damaged his spine. How do you not fight back when it's fight or flight is a real thing. It's embedded within us. To just listen to yourself, remember your training, and just lay there, non-combative. That is powerful. You have to be there for the right reason, I would think, in order to pull something like that off. And honestly, ask yourself. I'm asking myself again right now. Not the first time, hopefully not the last time. Could I have done it? Could I do it today? It's a lot. It's just, the thing about this is we watch these clips, we listen to the stories, and it's so hard to give it the credit it so deserves. Like, man, how does a person live through that, right? But that is journey. That is us, walking the path that was destined for each of us, playing that specific role that we were chosen and we chose in return. to play in this world. Just amazing. Salute with your spirit, with your heart, all of those who are part of the freedom fighters. And make a commitment within your own journey to be a freedom rider for whatever it is that needs freedom. I mean, what more can we say? It's not over. It's not over. There's still a lot to do, an awful lot to do. So there's that. Let's see. What is this next one? This is a 1 minute clip. Wait a minute. I better come in here first. Wow. I've just, it's a lot, right? Let's take a look at this. This is a 1 minute clip. I haven't seen it. I wanted to just keep it kind of organic, if you will, for both of us, for all of us rather, so that we could just experience some of this together. Okay, I think this is the one video that celebrates. Yeah, let's take a look here. Just a 1 minute clip.
But no, absolutely no. Cannot kill the dream.
You cannot kill the dream.
Civil rights activity was born out of necessity.
All the girls that was in there with me was killed. I was the only one that survived.
Dr. King believed, as he often said, that you cannot achieve nonviolent ends through violent means.
You might get kicked, you might get spit on, but tell the person that's doing, I still love you just the same.
Once that method was proven in Montgomery, then we could move across the nation, and did.
The demonstration inspired me. It made me want to be somebody.
I was ready to go and get my freedom.
That dream has an indelible imprint on the American mentality. It was an American dream. It was a dream for everybody.
Wow. What stood out to me in that brief but poignant clip was the woman. I think she was from the church. I'm sure she was. I've seen her before. I don't know her name. I should, but I don't. I will do better. When she said all those little girls in there, in there died except for me. I was the only one who lived. Can you imagine? Just so much. Okay. Moving on, man. I should have had a guest, but I didn't want a guest today. I just wanted to kind of go through this and just honor it. History of the civil rights movement. I wanted us to take a look at this one. I'm gonna blow this up, get it started.
But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be learning more about the history of the American Civil Rights Movement. The end of the American Civil War in 1865 effectively meant the end of slavery, but African Americans were in for a long struggle before they were finally awarded equal rights. As of 1870, all eligible male citizens were able to vote. However, blacks were discouraged to by violence and eventually legal stipulations. In 1896, the Supreme Court ruled to maintain racial segregation in private businesses in a case called Plessy versus Ferguson. Soon broadened to include schools, many southern states applied this separate but equal mentality to all aspects of life. However, this led to the application of Jim Crow laws, which resulted in blacks being treated as second-class citizens. Segregated schools, public transit, restrooms, water fountains, and more continued well into the 1900s. In 1909, a group of prominent black and white campaigners created the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP. Their goal was to increase racial equality and challenge issues like the Jim Crow laws. Unfortunately, it was between 1910 and 1930 that white supremacist group the Ku Klux Klan saw its biggest expansion amid increased racial friction. Following the First World War, the NAACP was devoted to ending lynching by white vigilantes. By mid-century, the group became instrumental in the Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka court case. This class action suit, filed in 1951, asked that segregation in schools be struck down. Taken to the Supreme Court, the case resulted in the first integrated school in the United States to open in the fall of 1955.
Look how they're looking at each other.
Encouraged by the decision, the civil rights movement began to hold high-profile boycotts, marches, sit-ins, and other peaceful protests. These included 1955's Montgomery bus boycott in support of Rosa Parks. A watershed moment came in 1957 when a high school in Arkansas admitted a group of African American students, nicknamed the Little Rock Nine. Protested by fellow students, the governor, and even the state's National Guard, President Dwight Eisenhower eventually intervened to ensure the students' safe passage. By 1962, universities also began integrating, though black students were still met with protests and violence. The Southern Freedom Movement continued into the 60s, with support from newly elected President John F. Kennedy and his brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy. The violence of the Birmingham, Alabama campaign influenced the president to fully endorse the movement.
A great change is at hand, and our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all.
On June 19, 1963, he proposed a civil rights bill to Congress, which was approved in 1964 after his death with support from President Lyndon Johnson. The bill struck down existing legislation that allowed for discrimination, and its approval was largely influenced by Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington of August 1963.
With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
Capturing the attention of the media and the population, this event attracted hundreds of thousands of people in support of civil rights. Following that, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 ended the prejudiced voting system. Instantly effective, blacks began voting and running for public office. However, just days later, on August 11th, a violent six-day riot in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Watts resulted in 34 deaths.
Wow.
This was indicative of a period of racially motivated violence that occurred in the mid to late 1960s. This era also saw the rise of Black Power, led in large part by Stokely Carmichael, in opposition to extremists like the Ku Klux Klan. This ideology was exemplified by the Black Panther Party, which followed the principles set forth by Malcolm X. Rising to prominence in the 1950s, his radical ideas advocated militancy for blacks.
Black people are dissatisfied. They're dissatisfied not only with the white man, but they're dissatisfied with these Negroes who have been sitting around here posing as leaders and spokesmen for black people and actually making the problem worse instead of making the problem better.
He remained an influential and controversial human rights activist until his assassination in 1965. The murders of civil rights leaders continued when Martin Luther King Jr. was killed in April 1968 and Robert Kennedy 2 months later. Despite racial tensions continuing into the 1990s, progress has been measurable. The election of President Barack Obama in 2008 is seen by many to be a culmination of centuries of work in favor of racial equality.
This is the meaning of our liberty and our creed, why
Yes.
men and women and children of every race and every faith can join in celebration across this magnificent mall, and why a man whose father less than 60 years ago might not have been served at a local restaurant can now stand before you to take a most sacred oath.
Wow. Wow. You know that, that nearly made, I'm sorry, you guys. I got to, my lips are chapped even up here. It's just great. But man, that almost made me tear up, to be honest with you. That little clip, that brief clip of President Obama. And to think, when I see those dates, August of 1963, and that's my lifetime. I was here. And to think, what if that change had not taken place? What dreams of mine might have never been able to see the light of day? It's a lot to think about. And, even the fact that MLK Jr. Day All it took, I remember I was stationed in Phoenix, Arizona, when it happened, and Arizona was the first state to actually celebrate and adapt the MLK Day. And I was there then, and I remember how proud I felt to be standing on the soil where this movement, which we're celebrating today, began. So just to be clear, I hope that we don't become so complacent that we just treat it as, Flag Day or what is that one? Right? You know what I mean? I just don't want it to be something we go through the motions about. There's so much sacrifice, so many true, loyal American citizens, just citizens of this wonderful country, sacrificed everything, including their lives, so that this world that we're living in could be even better than the world that we're living in, which means it's now on us to do better and to keep carrying this flag, take up the good fight. So I don't, wow. I'm proud to be an American, and I'm proud to be African American, and I'm proud to be a 61-year-old man who can understand freedoms that most of my ancestors could only dream about, if even that, because many of them couldn't even dream that'll never happen. How could that be? But nonetheless, we're getting there. So I'm going to take up the good fight. I'm going to take up the battle and remember them by doing my best every day to stand up for any injustice, not just for color, just for people, just for people, to take up the stand, not just for causes, for causes, but not just for anything that is and should be upheld, should be standing up for those things, challenging those rules that are archaic, that no longer serve us, to get them stricken down or replaced by something that does serve us. I want to fight for things like Roe versus Wade, things that I feel, in my personal opinion, should not be overturned. They should be reinforced, constantly celebrated, all of that. So think about it in your own life, if you will, about what would your life be like had you not had the opportunities to be the you are today. I think we all need to do. That's a great thing to say we can do on days like Martin Luther King Jr. Day. If nothing else, you don't have to dress your car up. I know a lot of African Americans whose jobs require them to come to work on this day. They stay home, and that's as a move of solidarity. And I support that. I agree with that. I really do. And I hope you do too. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. That means a lot. Okay, that was really my alter ego. But listen, one last clip today. I'm going to end the show a little bit early. I'm still catching up. I'm really worn out from having had a cold and going all the way to Colorado and back in a 36-hour period from start to finish, 36 hours. Not as young as I used to be, but still excited to try to be. This last clip, I found this the other day. Maya Angelou is just one of my favorite human beings ever. I have a book of hers, a book of quotes somewhere over here on my desk. I won't try to find it, that I've been reading, in 19 honorary doctorate degrees and never spent one day in a classroom in college. Maya Angelou, just amazing. And I love this piece that we're about to see. It's a great place to end the show. She talks about how she created this piece. I know a lot of you have never seen this. I sent it to some friends yesterday, and they were like, "Where did you find this?" And she was watching this woman Well, I won't spoil it, but she was watching this woman she saw on a bus, and she said she watched her, she studied her for 9 months, and came to this conclusion. This is one of the most riveting performances I think I've ever experienced. It is just incredible. So what better way, such a fitting way, to close the show today on this. Hello, Believe in Yourself. How are you? You're going to the gym for the first time in 12 years? All right. You've now encouraged me. I mean, I've gone, but I haven't been going lately like I should. I'm, sick and back and forth. But thank you. I think I will do the same thing today because I've taken your lead. So thank you for that. Thank you. So you guys, this piece here, I'm going to end on today. Maya Angelou. It's a poem entitled "Why We Wear the Mask." Not why, just "We Wear the Mask." MASK. And it is simply incredible. It really is. And so, as I leave you, because I'm not going to come back in afterwards to talk about this piece, I would do it an injustice to taint the air, if you will, with any of my words, because in my opinion, Maya Angelou says it all in this. So I want you to take this with you today. I want you to join us tomorrow. We have a young authoress. That's my version of a female author, an authoress. She will be, her name is Ariana Banerjee. She wrote a book about Don't Give Them Your Power, all about how she was bullied. She's a Hispanic woman. She is an incredibly gifted, brilliant woman, a student in her early 20s. I think she's going off to college for the first time, or she just did. Wait till you meet this young woman. So she'll be here tomorrow. David Fagan, a lot of you know him from Top Talent Agency out in Los Angeles, will be with us on Wednesday. And then we have Sabrina Victoria on Thursday, and rounding out the week, Eileen Arden. And what a joy, what a surprise, what an honor it's going to be to have her here on Friday. So big week ahead. And so before we leave, thank you so much for popping in. Remember, we're here every day, Monday through Friday, God willing, to have illuminated conversations. And if you or someone you know has a story you'd like to share, reach out to me. I'll be happy to get you booked and have that conversation right here live on Bathrobe Moments. So as we get out of here, like I said, we're going to end a couple minutes early. This is this clip. We wear masks. We wear the mask. Maya Angelou. I'm not sure of the year, but it is timeless. So I hope you enjoy it. Take it with you. Have a divine day. And I will see you, God willing, tomorrow morning, right over there on the front porch, where we together can share another illuminated conversation. So without further ado, here we go. Maya Angelou. I'm going to get this going. I want to pull her. I don't want you to miss 1 second. So let me pop her up there. And now I'll come back over. And here we go. Have a blessed day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I have written a poem for a woman who rides a bus in New York City. She's a maid. She has 2 shopping bags. When the bus stops abruptly, she laughs. If the bus stops slowly, she laughs. If the bus picks up someone, she laughs. If the bus misses someone, she... So I watched her for about 9 months. I thought, Now, if you don't know Black features, you may think she's laughing. But she wasn't laughing. She was simply extending her lips and making a sound. I said, oh, I see. That's that survival apparatus. Now, let me write about that to honor this woman who helps us to survive. By her very survival, Miss Rosie, through your destruction, I stand up. So I used the poem with Mr. Paul Laurence Dunbar's poem, Masks, and my own poem for old Black men. Mr. Dunbar wrote Masks in 1892. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It shades our cheeks and hides our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts, we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs, and they let them only see us while we wear the mask? We smile, but oh my God, our tears to thee from tortured souls arise, and we sing, hey, baby, bye. We sing, hey, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile. But let the world think otherwise. We wear the mask. When I think about myself, I almost laugh myself to death. My life has been one great big joke, a dance that's walked, a song was spoke. I laugh so hard, I almost choke when I think about myself. 70 years in these folks' world. The child I works for calls me girl. I say, yes, ma'am, for working's sake. I'm too proud to bend and too poor to break. So I laugh until my stomach ache when I think about myself. My folks can make me split my side. I laugh so hard, I nearly died. The tales they tell sound just like lying. They grow the fruit but eat the rind. I laugh until I start to cry when I think about myself and my folks and the little children. My fathers sit on benches. Their flesh count every plank. The slats leave dents of darkness deep in their withered flank, and they nod like broken candles, all waxed and burnt profound. They say, but sugar, it was our submission that made your world go round. There in those pleated faces I see the auction block, the chains and slavery's coffles, the whip and lash and stock. My father speaking voices that shred my fact and sound. They say, but sugar, it was our submission, and that made your world go round. They laughed to shield their crying. They shuffled through their dreams. They stepped and fetched a country and wrote the blues in screams. I understand their meaning. It could and did derive from living on the ledge of death. They kept my race alive by wearing the mask.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need a space.